I'm Seb Heslo from Seb's FinTech channel on YouTube, and I'm here today to give you guys an introduction to the Octominer X12 server case for GPU mining, as well as show you how to get started and set it up. And when you first get your X12, it will look something like this. So let's get it unpacked and we can get started. Alright, so when you unbox your Octominer, the first thing you're greeted with is this quick guide on how to get your X12 set up. And below that is, of course, your new server case. So let's have a look around the outside before we open it up. On the front here, you can see the 540mm high performance case fans, and these can deliver up to 240 CFMs of airflow. And together with the built-in smart fan controller, the fan speed can be adjusted automatically to always keep your GPUs at your desired temperature. I'll show you how to set that up a little bit later in this video, and alternatively, the fans can also be controlled by the case's environmental readings. Next up, we have the power, reboot and reset CMOS buttons. Below that we have the system indicator lights. The red one is for the system drive, the green one is the system power status, the orange one is the error debug light, and it will blink slowly if there is a larger than normal amount of bad shares, and it will blink fast if there are any serious issues in your mining OS. The blue light is the hardware watchdog heartbeat, and I'll talk a little bit more about the hardware watchdog in just a little bit, but the blinking blue light indicates that it has established a successful link with the operating system. The purple light is a custom light that you can program for any custom feature. And finally, the white light can be manually switched on from within your mining dashboard to help you locate your mining rig. Then right here, we have one of the environmental sensors that measure the temperature, humidity and air pressure around the rig. Below this, we have the OLED screen, which by default will display a lot of useful information like the rig name, your mining algorithm, hash rate and the power consumption. It can of course also be customized to display lots of useful data like fan speed, temperature and amount of bad shares. We then have a USB port as well as the SSD that comes pre-loaded with Hive OS. Now, if we turn the case around, we can see the hot swappable server power supplies. And these power supplies come with built-in temperature sensors, as well as power meters that let you measure the true power consumption of your mining rig right inside of your operating system. The X12 is available in a few different configurations, and the one I have here comes with 3 platinum-rated 1200 watt server power supplies. Next to those we find another environmental sensor, and finally below that all of the regular ports you'd expect on a computer like HDMI, USB, Ethernet and so on. Now to open up the case, there are 2 screws at the top, 2 at the front and 2 at the back. And once that's off, the first thing we can see here is the box of accessories. More on that in just a second, but first let's have a look at what's inside here. So first what we have is the GPU support bar here, which is attached with just 2 screws here and 2 screws on the outside, which I'll remove now so that we can get a better look at what's inside. We've of course got our motherboard complete with CPU and RAM, and the first thing you might want to do is plug a CR2032 CMOS battery, as due to shipping restrictions, the Octominer unfortunately cannot be delivered with one already installed. Now, connected to the motherboard, we have the PCI Express extension board, which you'll then be plugging your GPUs into. It is compatible with all triple slot GPUs, and the spacing between each slot is 60.96 millimeters. Next to this, we have the breakout board for the power supply, and this is where you'll be plugging in the power cables for your GPUs in just a little bit. And finally, in here we can also see the smart fan controller and hardware watchdog. As I mentioned earlier, the smart fan controller lets you set the speed of the case fans based on your GPU temperatures or the environmental sensors. And the hardware watchdog will reboot a frozen rig automatically after it has sensed that the rig has frozen and needs a reboot. Now, let's open up the accessories box. And in here, you'll find the case handles and the screws you need to attach them to your mining rig. You will also find the power splitter that you can plug into your power supplies, which will then give you a single C20 plug. You then need the appropriate power cable to plug into your local power socket or power distribution unit. We then have a bag of all the screws you need to fasten the GPUs inside of your server case. And finally, the PCIe power cables for your GPUs that are all cut to length to perfectly reach each of your GPUs. To get the rig set up and running for the first time, remember to put in the CMOS battery as mentioned earlier, then just plug your rig into Ethernet and power and turn it on. It is very normal for the rig to turn on and off and on and off a few times the very first time you power it on, just as it's getting everything set up. It is then recommended that you get the rig set up and registered within your operating system before you add any GPUs into it. And I'll show you how to do that in Hive OS in just a little bit. But I thought I'd go slightly out of the recommended order here and show you how to insert graphics cards into the rig first, since I have it here and open already. Now, me personally, I like inserting my GPUs before attaching the power cables. And I also like starting from the slot closest to the power supplies and working my way out. So it would just look like this. Line up the connector with the socket on your motherboard, and then just line it up. And slot it in like so. You can then secure your GPUs with 2 screws that come included in the case as such. And then finally, plug in your power cables. And I like to leave this for last. So all you have to do is gently feed them through this gap in the support bar here, one at a time. And then just plug them in one at a time into your breakout board, like this. Make sure you're plugging in the end of the cable with 6 pins into the breakout board, and you're not confusing them with the 8-pin ones that are on the other side that go into your graphics cards. Included is a total of 12 cables, 1 for each GPU, and each power cable comes with 2 8-pin connectors, where you can slide off the extra 2 to make it into a 6-pin connector for the GPUs that only need 6-pin connectors. So to plug them in, all you have to do is reach them out and plug them into your graphics cards, like so. And that is all you need to do to get your rig set up hardware-wise. Now I'll get this rig ready by filling it up with 123070s off camera, and then we'll move over to Hive OS, where I'll show you how to get your rig set up and mining. So next I'm going to show you how to set your Octominer up in Hive OS. And after you sign up for a Hive OS account and verify your email and log in, you will be greeted by a screen something like this. You can see I've named this Hive OS account Seb Test Account. And it will have automatically made a farm for me, which is called Seb Test Account Farm. Now, in Hive OS, a farm is basically a group of mining rigs, which in Hive OS, a mining rig is called a worker. So a farm is a group for mining rigs, which are called workers. So what we can do now is we can either come in here, hit the little plus button, and make another farm if we want to have more than one group of workers, or we can add our new Octominer to this existing farm called Seb Test Account Farm. For you, it will probably be called something else. But before we do that, we want to add our crypto wallet. So we will click on wallets over here and then click add wallet. And the first thing you need to do here is select the coin your crypto wallet is for. So for example, if you are mining Ethereum Classic, you select ETC. If you're mining Ravencoin, RVN, and so on. So you would just select the coin you will be mining there, paste your crypto wallet address there. You can then name your wallet, and you can also specify the source of the wallet. For example, if it's a Coinbase wallet, if it is a Ledger wallet, and so on. Now, neither name or source are required fields, so you can leave those blank if you so choose. And then once you fill that in, just hit create, and your wallet will be saved in your Hive OS account. Now, next up, we need to create a flight sheet. And a flight sheet is basically these settings where you specify what coin you will be mining on your rig, what mining pool you will be mining it on, and what mining software you will be mining it with. So we just click on flight sheet up in the menu there, and then hit add flight sheet. And we can now create a new flight sheet. So as we just added Ethereum Classic as our wallet, I will obviously be mining Ethereum Classic. So I will select Ethereum Classic here. I will select the wallet that I just made, which I named main wallet. I will then select a mining pool. So for this example, I will go with Hero Miners. I then need to select what server I will be mining to on their pool. And this is basically just select whichever one is closest physically to you. So for me, that would be Finland, then hit apply. And finally, I will select the mining software that I will use to mine Ethereum Classic. So for this, I will choose LolMiner. I can then name this flight sheet something. So I will name it ETC main wallet Hero Miners LolMiner. Of course, you can name this whatever you want. I just like naming it sort of the settings that I have set up in the flight sheet. And then I will hit create flight sheet. So now we have what we need to get set up. But of course, our Octominer actually is not registered into Hive OS yet. And so to do that, we need to come back to the first page here and select our farm. And we then need to hit the add rig button here. And it gives you a few options of how to connect your Octominer to Hive OS. So just click whatever option is more appropriate for you. Follow the guide that comes along with it. And after you've followed all the steps, your Octominer will be registered in your Hive OS account, ready for you to deploy your flight sheets. All right, so after you've followed the steps to connect your Octominer to Hive OS, you should be greeted by something like this, a random rig in your farm here. So what we can do then is just click on this. This will be your Octominer. And I can see that that is correct since it has the 12 3070s that I had put in it. And then one of the first things you might want to do is just come into the settings and name your rig something more appropriate. So I'm going to name this 12 by 3070 rig. And then I can just hit update worker. There are a few other settings you can change in here as well if you should so choose. But for now, let's just get this up and mining. So let's go back to overview for our rig. You can see it's now named 12 by 3070 rig. And as you can see there, it's saying missing flight sheet. And that is because we have not yet applied the flight sheet that we made previously. But before we do that, it is a good idea to apply some overclock settings. So as we can see here, all of my GPUs are the exact same kind. I happen to know what overclock settings I need specifically for these GPUs. However, you should always look up how to overclock your specific GPUs because all GPUs are unique and need their own individual overclock numbers. But for this example here, I can just click the overclock all button out here. And I know that I will have to set a core clock of 1150 and a memory clock of 2600. And that is all I need. I can leave my fan setting on auto for now and hit save. I have now applied all the necessary clock settings that I need to start mining. So I can now simply go out to flight sheet and conveniently, here is the flight sheet that we made earlier. So all I have to do now is just hit this little rocket button. It will give me a little notice about mining on a non-Hive on pool. That's fine for now. And I'll hit apply. And the flight sheet is now applied to our Octominer. So we are now up and mining Ethereum Classic on our Octominer rig. And now as my rig gets up and mining, I will come back to overview here. And there is a couple of settings that I want to set up quickly before we're done for today. And the first one is the auto fan on my actual graphics cards. So I'll just click the auto fan setting icon up here and just simply turn the auto fan on. You can then select your target temperatures and so on over there. These seem fine by now, so I'll just hit apply. And then I can actually do the same for the Octominer server case fans. So to do that, I just need to hit the little Octominer logo up in Hive OS here. And here I can turn the auto fan on and I can set the minimum and maximum fan speeds I want, as well as the target core and memory temperatures here. So I'll set the matching numbers that I had on the auto fan for the GPU fans. And then as for the fan speeds, I'll just set minimum to 25% and maximum to 100% and hit apply. And what happens now is that the speed of the Octominer server case fans will be controlled by the temperature of the graphics cards that are in the Octominer. So if the graphics cards in the Octominer go above 70 degrees on the core or 90 on the memory, then the server case fans will simply start spinning faster in order to lower those temperatures back down. And as you can see, we are now up and mining Ethereum Classic on all 12 GPUs, getting around 61.75 megahash per 3070. If we have a look down here, we can also see that the speed of the server case fans has auto-regulated in order to help us reach our target temperatures for the graphics cards. And down here we can also see the total power consumption of the rig thanks to the built-in power meters. And if we hover over this number, we can also see the individual power draw and other statistics for all three of our power supplies. And that's it. I hope you will enjoy your new Octominer X12 mining rig. Thank you for watching.